This evening's Honorary Bachelor of Applied Studies degree is awarded to Mr. Jim Grieve. Mr. Jim Grieve recently retired as Assistant Deputy Minister for the Early Years Division for the Ontario Ministry of Education, responsible for full-day kindergarten, childcare, and family support programs. Mr. Jim Grieve led the teams that created a seamless learning experience for children from birth onward. Jim is a steadfast advocate for the work of the Early Years Division and recognizes this work as the most significant of investments for the future of our children, our communities, our province, and our country. Jim's passion is easily recognizable throughout his career, and proudly he is founding member of the Council for Early Years Development, the co-chair of 2 highly accomplished Success by 6 organizations in Ottawa and Peel, the co-chair of a working group on early childhood learning and development for the Council of Ministers of Canada, member of the Executive Committee of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development Network on Early Childhood Education and Care, and he currently leads an international project to develop an early learning development framework and to identify requisite learning outcomes. Over the past 15 years, in concert with Dr. Fraser Mustard, Dr. Dan Offord, Dr. Magdalena Janus, and many more brilliant scholars in the early childhood education development sector, he has worked to develop a strong multi-sectoral initiatives designed to help young children and families in Canada thrive and reach their fullest of potentials. Jim served as Director of Education for Ottawa-Carleton before heading up the Peel District School Board, Canada's second largest board. Jim holds undergraduate credentials from York University and Victoria College of the University of Toronto, and holds graduate credentials from the Ontario Institute for Studies in Education at the University of Toronto. Jim was named the 2013 Communicator of the Year by the International Association of Business Communicators, and he was recognized with a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Government of Ontario in 2014. Jim is a highly visible and approachable leader and is always willing to advise organizations on the work of the ministry and the other various projects he is involved with. It is through this commitment that Humber has a relationship with Mr. Grieve. Jim is always supportive of the role of post-secondary institutions in providing the requisite curriculum to future childcare education professionals, and makes himself available regularly to ensure we are aligned with the strategic directions of the province, and so that we are providing the next generation of childcare professionals with what they need to be the best they can be. We are proud to call Jim our friend, and we are proud of the lifelong commitment to child health that Jim has devoted. We are proud to bestow this honor on you, Jim, for you model the values that our entire organization stands for. Our entire ECE faculty, staff, and student body has benefited from your leadership and your friendship. Most importantly, our children, our communities, our province, and our country are better off for what you have accomplished in your career. It is my pleasure to welcome you to our Humber College family. Mr. Grieve, please stand. President Whitaker, Mr. Gray, it is with great honor and pleasure that we ask you to confer upon Mr. Jim Grieve this Bachelor of Applied Studies degree. And now I welcome Mr. Jim Grieve to speak with the class of 2015. Jim?
I'm a little choked up. This is really, truly an honor. And may I say, first of all, to President Whitaker and members of the platform party that I'm honored to share, Humber faculty and staff, special guests, parents, faculty, family members, including those who are around the world. I know you're being webcast today, and especially to those whom we celebrate here truly tonight, students no longer, but graduates of Humber. Let's hear from you, graduates from Humber. Jason, thank you very much for such a brilliant and wonderful opening. And I've sat where you sit right now, and I know that I'm between you and a big celebration afterwards, so I'm going to keep this very short and try and give you something very much from the heart. I am truly honored and privileged to be celebrating this important event with you tonight. This is a big event in your life. It's certainly one in mine. And to have the opportunity to share some of my thoughts with you is just a perfect opportunity. And I'm going to keep you going. I'm not going to let you drift off on any part of this. My remarks tonight are not going to change your life path. You know that, and I know that. But some of you, no doubt, will be continuing on to further studies. This is good news. And some, this is truly a graduation day. You're moving on. You're getting into that kind of grown-up world, and you're ready to move. And I don't know whether you've been following this, and I'm speaking not just to the graduates who are going to receive these beautiful awards this evening, but also to parents and family members and children out here. But apparently, 30 years old, 30 is the new 20. You knew that, right? This is serious brain research that says that adolescent brain is really, truly not finished until about we used to think age 18, but frankly, we now know that it's somewhere between age 26 and 28. So apparently, 30 is the new 20, the research says. Now, at the same time, some of us are reaching certain other milestones. Did you know, for example, that we're also hearing that 40 and 50, and yes, even 60 is the new 30, because as baby boomers, I'm probably the only one here, as baby boomers age, generally they tend to be more active and they're healthy and they're doing all sorts of fabulous things that they see you doing. They're trying to do the same thing. So, good news, everyone in this room is 30 tonight. You're going to thank me for that. I just know that. But you know, definitely graduating and learning that you're the new 30 means that you're moving forward in life. I'm also the new 30 in another way. Like you, I leave here tonight with this amazing honor, this degree from Humber, applied degree from Humber, and it's an honorary degree, and I just love the notion of being celebrated this way. And I am more grateful than I can express to be recognized in this way from this college with this degree. Friends and colleagues who've known me for the last, 5 years at the ministry, maybe 10 years before that, know that everything I was doing within my family or within schools or within childcare centers or family support centers, every time I'd come away from one of those, I would say to anyone who would care to listen, one day I might make a pretty good ECE, one day. And this, I feel, in an honorary way from Humber and from you. Thank you so much. I feel vindicated and validated for that goal. I realize that an honorary degree is given in recognition of my career accomplishments in education, and especially the recent work in those precious early years. But you're probably less familiar with me and my early career in dentistry, so I thought I'd talk about that. My grandfather was a dentist. He practiced dentistry actively until he was 75. He clearly knew that 75 was the new 30 as well. And, I admired him so much. I just loved the work he did. I loved the way he interacted with his patients. He just had this wonderful dental community that he worked with. So that was the career for me, I thought. Anyone would agree that dentistry would be a great profession. But I failed as a dentist. Actually, I failed before I even became a dentist. I never even went to dental school. Seriously, I really thought I would be a dentist, but when I look back at my career and all the things I'd done as a student in high school and in university and beyond, I'd worked with children. It certainly came to me that the passion that I felt for working with young people meant I had to be a teacher, and I've never looked back. I just love it. So I really owe today's honorary degree to failure. Would I be standing here if I were just the most popular dentist in this part of Toronto? Probably not. Probably not. Now, I have no intention of giving you any kind of advice. That's what you have family and friends to do, and they'll give you plenty. They've probably been giving you much more than you needed over the last little while, I suspect. But if my status as your commencement speaker entitles me to sort of advance an observation, not advice, an observation based on my experience, it would be this: fail early and fail often. Why? I've certainly learned from my experiences with young children over the past several years that failure is part of the learning process. Those of you who, where are the ECEs sitting tonight? In the early years, young children ask, get this, on average, 437 questions every day. Every day. Now, if you're exhausted as a parent and you have a little guy or gal, you know why you're tired. But it's not that they're asking the question, it's that they don't learn unless they're failing. And at the very least, every day, you should be asking yourself the question, why or why not? Because those of you who are early childhood educator grads who just did the woo know toddlers ask their questions not so much in words, it's not theoretical. They, the way they ask is doing something. If they want to know if something's breakable, they're going to find out if it's breakable. If they want to know what happens when you mix two things together, they're going to mix things together. And if it works, fine. If it doesn't work, you know. They ask those questions by trying it out. And you do too. We do too. All of us do that. And if you spend time watching a toddler, many of those attempts might look to the untrained, unskilled Humber graduate ECE eye as failures of that child to do something correct. In fact, that child is learning, making connections, getting those brain synapses and neural connections going, and building the brain and mapping the possibilities. That's how they learn. We know that's how brains are built. So as the saying goes, the master has failed more times than the novice has tried. Our mistakes, our failures, those are the real learning opportunities. You've learned to ski, you've learned to do all sorts of things, and you know if you're not falling when you're learning to ski, you're not learning. You know that. So I experienced some of this in my career. Everyone has, if they'll admit it. Here's one. I put myself forward for an interview for a very big superintendent job long before I should even have thought of doing that. They say that's a male thing. Men will apply for a job when they are about 60% ready for a job. Women will generally make sure they have 100% of the credentials before they apply for the job. It's just one of those male things. Anyway, I went to the interview, thought I was going to do a great job. Partway through this great exposition on some question that I'd been asked, I noticed that one of the people interviewing me had fallen fast asleep. So, now clearly, I did become superintendent, just not on that day. And I've gone further in my career. And that experience propelled me to take on other challenges. You don't always win, but you try. You do all those things, and you present your skills the best you can. I've had an opportunity to be invited to be a keynote speaker just about everywhere around the world. And what an honor to go and speak in various settings, in various ways about early learning or any subject related to education. But thanks to that experience, that devastating experience that might have stopped some people in their tracks, I learned from it. I know how to talk to people. I know how to bring people along and to give them a message that I hope will stick with them. It's also worth recognizing that there is no such thing as an overnight success. It just doesn't happen. You'll do well to cultivate the resources in yourself that bring you happiness outside of success or failure. The truth is, most of us discover where we're headed when we arrive. When we arrive. At that time, you turn around and say, well, yes, obviously, this is exactly where I thought I should be. And here I am. It's a good idea to try and enjoy the scenery on those detours that you take, that sometimes a stumble causes you, because you'll probably take a few of those detours. It's certainly been true in my career. I started in middle school. While I was a superintendent and director of education, I was involved with the early years in various ways, as Jason said. So, of course, when I was appointed to this role that I just left, the Assistant Deputy Minister of Early Years, it seemed like the culmination, the perfect trajectory in education for me. But honestly, the story really doesn't end there. For grads, this ceremony is the beginning. It's a brand new beginning. Same as for me, because this week I started a whole new role, a whole new career as Executive Director of the Retired Teachers Association. Completely different. Feels to me, though, like a natural step. I can make the connection between 0 to 6 and 6-0 very comfortably in my mind. I get it. And there's a lot of similarity. So I see it just as another natural step. Some are chuckling back here. So the same will be true of you. Today is the beginning of your most exciting personal and professional adventure. And now, go and make some interesting mistakes. Make some amazing mistakes. Make some glorious and fantastic mistakes. And by all means, please accept my sincere congratulations on all the work you've done together. Thank you so much.